Hey, what's up, everybody? Chicago Goon here, bringing another Arsenal talk. On this Arsenal talk, I'll be covering the Sunderland game, or lack thereof of whatever that was, for the the third, fourth, fifth time. Um, I mean, what can you really say? I mean, coming to the end of the season, you know, all the pundits, commentators, they're all kind of using the same excuses for these players, that it's the FA Cup final that they're only thinking about. This is the most concerning thing. 4 or 5 weeks ago, every single player just about on Arsenal, especially in the starting 11, was in form, and now there's not one single player that's in form, other than maybe the defenders. That's about it. That's it. None of our attackers are in form. We haven't scored a home goal in 3 games. That's Chelsea, Swansea, and now Sunderland. We haven't scored a goal, period, since stoppage time of the Hull City game. And if you add all that up, not adding, stoppage time, injury time, we haven't scored in about somewhere around like 325 minutes. Um, when you call yourself Arsenal, you call yourself one of the biggest clubs in the world, you call yourself saying that we have some of the best players in the world, we have one of the best teams in the world. Shit like this doesn't happen. You don't go on a 3 game home streak of not scoring, especially at home, of all places. And again, like I said, about 325 minutes that we haven't scored a goal, an open goal, because Blackett, that was an own goal, that wasn't our goal. So we haven't scored a single goal in about 3.5 games. And when you're going into an FA Cup final in less than a week and a half, that's a real concern. If people are going to use the excuse of, well, they don't want to get injured because of the FA Cup final, they want to play in the FA Cup final, then why are they even on the pitch? The team selection today, again, was just, I don't get it. Arsene Wenger just runs these guys into the ground. He really does. I mean, you could see that Giroud is he's not himself. He has no energy. Santi Cazorla, same way. Even Ozil near the end looked like he was gassed. At times Aaron Ramsey too, and Aaron Ramsey has a huge work rate. Even Alexis Sanchez at near the end of the game just look gassed. I mean, everybody just, again, for the umpteenth time, not interested in playing, not interested in playing the way we should be playing. If you really look at Sunderland's roster, there's not one player that any team in the top 10, in the top half of the table, would take any of those players. We basically lost to a championship side. I mean, those are the type of players that belong in the championship, not in the BPL. And we just basically took a draw against the championship side. We always talk about, well, we have so much quality and blah blah blah. We just don't have that killer instinct. We just don't. That much is true. It's obvious. How many times over the years that a lot of these players just switch off for a game. And some fans are, well, it doesn't mean anything. This is a no nothing game. It doesn't mean anything. These players get paid a ton of money to play, to win, regardless of the situation. Do you see Manchester City switching off because they have nothing to play for? No, they don't switch off. Last 2 games, they've scored 10 goals. 6 against QPR, 4 against Swansea, a team that we couldn't even score against. Do they switch off? No. Seems like we're like the only team that switches off. Like, and we have something to play for. You know, we still have the FA Cup final to play for. And if there's any sport in the world that defines momentum or confidence, it's football. I mean, that's why they call players in form. But we have no form right now, none whatsoever. In a week and a half, we're going to be going to Wembley, playing Aston Villa. Yeah, Aston Villa got their ass kicked against Southampton. But out of these, from Chelsea, Swansea, now Sunderland, even Manchester United, Aston Villa has a blueprint of how to basically beat us, how to shut us down, and then catch us on the counter. But everybody's thinking, oh no, well, our guys will just switch it on. Maybe they will. I mean, if this is what they're waiting for, then they better be up 5-0 at halftime. They better win the fucking game 8-9-0 then. If this is what they're quote-unquote waiting for. Because it's ridiculous. The amount of money these guys are getting paid, and they're not performing at that high level. How and why would you expect other world-class players to come here if they see a game like this? Why the fuck would I want to go there? There's just a lot of concerns, and like I said, like the team sheet, I mean, so many guys should have been rested today. We still have another game regardless. We just came off of a game on Sunday, which, they weren't interested in the first 74 minutes. A lot of these guys should have been rested. I was hoping for Rizicki at the 10, hoping for Jack at the CM, Theo get to start at right mid. If you wanted to rest Coughlin, you just bring in Flamini. Maybe Gabriel gets a game. Gibbs was fine throughout the game. Maybe you have to push Giroud back out there, but why not recall? Well, you don't have to recall him because he's back from his loan spell with Nottingham Forest, and that's Chuba Akpom. I just don't, it would have been a perfect game for some of those guys to get into the game or to start the game, to maybe give Arsene Wenger something to think about. Because some of those guys would have just been busting ass the entire game to prove that, one, they need to be at least on the bench, and number two, maybe they need to be starting in the FA Cup final. But no, Arsene Wenger picks almost the same exact team, minus Jack Wilshere and Kieran Gibbs. It's like he's trying to run these players into the ground. And what does he say? His quote after the game. It seems like some of these, I'm scared that some of these players are getting burnt out. You're the reason why they're getting burnt out. Arsene Wenger is the reason why they're getting burnt out. And this is the time of year that you do not want to get burnt out. When you have something to play for, silverware. Again, for the second straight year, even fans are overconfident. Well, it's only Aston Villa. Just like last year. Oh, it's only Hull City. Oh, it's only Wigan in the semifinal. We'll kill them. We need to go to PKs, for Christ's sake, against fucking Wigan. We needed to go to extra time again against Reading. And here's Arsenal fans and, everybody. Well, it's only Aston Villa. We'll kick the shit out of them. Well, really? What proof do you have of that other than what we played them this year? Because obviously we're trying to go into some of these games overconfident. And we shouldn't be acting like that. At this level right now, especially being Arsenal, you have so much quality. They should be going out there for 90 minutes and saying, you know what, we are better than you, and we're going to show you why. And we're going to shove the ball right down your fucking throat. And we're going to score goal after goal after goal until we get bored, and then we're not going to score anymore. They just do not have that killer instinct. Today it was just pass side to side, side to side, side to side. We only had 2 real chances in this game. Giroud's flick, and then Theo Walcott near the end of the game. He just rifled one right at Pantilimon that he had to parry out. But again, no one was crashing to get that rebound. Everybody was just kind of standing there watching. That was only like a real 2 chances that we had in the entire game. The other real chance that we had almost came from another own goal from the Liverpool loanee. He almost basically, kind of like headed it, almost shouldered it right into the goal. It came right off the crossbar. It's just really shocking. The substitution, again, came late. The game was screaming for something different. We needed Theo in there. He should have started, period. He should have started. There was just way too many midfielders on the pitch at one time because Coughlin was sat down. You had Santi, you had Aaron, you had Ozil, and Jack on the pitch all at the same time. And what are those guys, again, other than maybe Ramsey, to where, he'll take a shot. Jack, he's unselfish. He'll, just like Ozil, his last option is to shoot. He'll pass 4 or 5 times before he actually shoots. He had a beautiful opportunity, a couple of them, that he just, one went up all the way into the top tier, and then another one he just had a bad touch and, went right into Patilimon's, chest, basically. But you put too many midfielders on the pitch at the same time that are unselfish, who are just pass, pass, pass. That leaves Giroud and Sanchez to do all the work to try to score. And what I say in my last couple episodes, all you have to do is surround Sanchez and take him out of the game. And that's what they did. Again, they took him out of the game. They took everybody out. I mean, it was just a fucking wall, a blue wall, right in front of goal. There was no width until Theo came into the game. Jack was drifting way too much inside, just like Aaron was. Even after halftime, even after halftime, they were still doing the same thing. Where's the manager? Where's the other coaches saying, do not drift so far inside because you're cluttering the midfield. You're cluttering right at the top of the box to the point that all they have to do is basically stand there and cover the gaps. And that's exactly what they did. Right now Tim Sherwood is watching all this tape of what Chelsea did to us, Swansea, now Sunderland, and he's licking his chops. He's probably thinking, dude, I'll fucking park the bus and I'll wait to get him on the counter attack. Because you know what? They actually have people that can score. We should have lost today if it wasn't for Ospina. If Fletcher was any decent finisher, we should have lost today. He had 2 good chances. One was that he tried to chip Ospina. Luckily, Ospina had fast hands. Because he was basically, him, Koscielny, and Bellerin was basically the men of the match. Other than that, there was no real attacker that really did much of anything. Ozil in the first half, he tried to make some really, nice passes that sometimes Sanchez and Giroud just couldn't handle. He really whipped those balls in there to try to, because that's what you have to do. You have to have fast passing, and they just weren't doing it. It was side to side, slow passing throughout the entire game. And people keep saying, well, we were knocking on the door. Where? When? Other than those 2 chances that I mentioned with Giroud and Theo, what other chances were we knocking on the door? Gibbs. Gibbs had a chance with that header, but he just couldn't get enough pace on it. But this is a real concern going into, we have a week and a half. Because now what is Arsene going to do? He has to sit those guys. He has to. He should have sat him today and then played some of them or even half of them against West Brom then. He has to sit those guys, especially Giroud. You have to sit him no matter what. I think you have to sit Giroud, Santi, Ozil, and Alexis in this West Brom game. You have to. You have to give them at least a full or 2 full days off to let those guys rest, to let those guys kind of get a little bit of a refreshment. Because they're going to just be acting the same way, especially with Giroud. I mean, he hasn't scored in, I think it's like 6 games now. 5 or 6 games. And he's such a vital point of our scoring goals. And it's the same thing that happened last year. He plays so many games, so many minutes, all of a sudden his legs die. And you're seeing the same thing back in February of last season. You know, right around the Liverpool game and stuff, he was just dead. He couldn't function for the most part. Just because he was just dead, physically. And you're seeing the same thing here. I mean, even the body language of the players today. Even Giroud. I mean, Giroud's, sometimes even on the pitch, he's always kind of like smiling or, doing something. Nothing out of him. Nothing out of these guys. You would think after the last 20 minutes of the Manchester United game that they're really going to come out in this game and just take it to them. And just like build on that intensity that they brought in the last 20 minutes of the Manchester United game. But they didn't. Came out dead. Came out, again, uninterested. And these are players who are making a shitload of money. But everybody has an excuse for them. Why? You can't... And I said on Twitter, you can't win the league like this. You can't have this mentality. You have to have that killer instinct. Like I said, Manchester City, are they sitting down? And the other thing, they're already making predictions on the pots for Champions League for next season, because all the winners, all the champions right now are in pot 1. And now they're starting to figure out what's pot 2, pot 3, and pot 4. We might end up in pot 3. And that just, I mean, there might be a great chance of having a group of death once again. I mean, we've had group of deaths for, 3 out of the last 5 years? I mean, do Arsenal fans not realize this? That UEFA has changed the rules of Champions League? Yeah, it's great to get in and not have those 2 extra games. But at the same time, I mean, fuck, dude. I mean, we might be in pot 3. Who knows what happens then? Because we can't play Chelsea, so that, we can't play any of our league members. So that leaves us out automatically of like three different pots or 3 different group stages. So that leaves like 5 available that we'll get picked from. And that's going to be, that's going to be something to really look at, because we had second place wrapped up. We had the edge, especially with the Sunderland game. What if, Man City slips up on Sunday and loses to Southampton? And all of a sudden we're just going to be scratching our head and thinking, fuck, we could have had second place. And then, of course, next season when Champions League comes around, they start picking the group stages, and all the groups, and all of a sudden we end up in pot 3. People are going to finally realize, oh shit, I guess we should have tried. We should have played better, because those games do matter. Because let's say we get a group of death. I mean, we get a real bad group of death. Let's say we get Barcelona and fucking I don't know who's other second. Who's maybe Wolfsburg, and maybe us, and then maybe who knows? Maybe even like a Roma or something in pot 4. I mean, that's a fucked up group. And let's say we can't even get out of the group because we get, posted in a group of death. Then we're playing in Europa League. Who the fuck wants to play that? No one does. I don't. I don't want to be in that fucking tournament. But no one realizes this. No one's even thinking about this. No one's thinking about that, about the future, and obviously the players aren't either. And it's just a real concern. And again, what's the one thing that Arsenal lacks? Leadership. You know, if any of our past captains, Tony Adams, Patrick Vieira, even like a Thierry Henry, even though he was only a captain for what, 1 or 2 years, I mean, he would have been yelling. Those guys would have been yelling at people throughout this game. But we don't have that. BFG, I don't know. I don't know what he does. He doesn't even really talk to the ref, to be honest with you. I mean, there's a lot of questionable fouls that weren't called by, again, how fucking Anthony Taylor is continuing. I mean, I don't know how many games he's had with us already this season. I mean, it's been at least like 6 or 7, and there's been a lot lately. And here's another thing to talk about. Saw plenty of tweets on it, since the Manchester United game. Been in podcasts of people asking for Jack and Aaron to be on the pitch at the same time. Oh, it's going to work. I would love to see that. It's going to work. It has to work. We've already seen it before. Are people just such short-term memories? We saw it in the beginning of the season, and it didn't work between those two in the midfield. Today, yeah, Jack was on the wing, Aaron was at CM. It didn't work. Why do you want to keep on saying it? Why? Because you play, the latest version of FIFA and you put a team together and you have Aaron and Jack stand, oh yeah, it definitely works in the game. It should work in real life. It doesn't work. That sideshow was already on stage in the beginning of the season, and it did not work. And what happened in the beginning of the season? We dropped a shitload of points. And what are we doing right now? We're dropping a shitload of points. I just don't get that. I don't get why people want to see that. I don't get why people think it's okay to play a central midfielder on the wing. I don't get that we have a winger sitting on the fucking bench. Even if you play Theo Walcott only 60 minutes. I don't get the fascination with Arsene Wenger playing players out of position. And it's hurting us. It is. I fucking hope that Danny Welbeck is fit for the FA Cup final. Because if he's not going to start Theo, then I pray to God that he start, because I don't want to see the fucking lineup ever again, to be honest with you. It just doesn't work. We have the proof right in front of us. We haven't scored in the last 3 home games. We haven't scored in 325 minutes. But keep, square peg round hole. Keep doing it. It's gonna fit. It's definitely gonna fit. No. Open your eyes and see that it doesn't work. Open your eyes and see that some of these players don't belong on the pitch at the same time. Because there's too much of the same bullshit happening. We need more goal scorers on the pitch. We need more players that are going to make themselves dangerous. Well, it's the end of the season. It doesn't matter. Well, fuck that. We'll keep on finishing top 4, barely competing in Champions League. Maybe make the knockout stage. Win the FA Cup once in a while. And I guess that's progress. People are talking about progress. The way they're finishing this season, the progress that they made is completely out the fucking door. Because even if you talk about progress, Chelsea was still going to win the league by like 10 points. How is that progress? We're going to finish with more points last season than this season. But that's progress. Progress would have been second place if they would do their jobs and finish games and play to the best of their ability, instead of, like all the commentators and pundits, well, they're thinking of the FA Cup. Then take them off the fucking pitch. Put some other guys on that want to prove themselves. Put a Rosicky on. Put Jack on. Put Theo on. Put Flamini on. Put Gabriel on. Bring Akpom back and put him up top for a game to give Giroud at least one fucking game's rest. Just don't understand it. Don't understand the mentality. Don't understand the mentality of a lot of fans either. You're almost kind of better off of just slamming your head against a concrete wall because you might get, you'll get better, you'll get more out of it. Rather than hearing some of the dribble or reading some of the dribble on Twitter and stuff, and it's okay. Like I said, they better win that. They better win that game in the FA Cup final convincingly. They better win that game 5-0, 6-0. They better beat the living shit out of Aston Villa. But again, like I said, we're giving Tim Sherwood the blueprint of how to beat us, of how to stop us from scoring, how to stop us from doing whatever we want to. And again, the plan Bs come too late. We used 2 out of our 3 substitutions. Rosicky didn't come on until the 80th minute. When he should have been, him and Theo should have been on in the 60th minute, period. But, whatever. Hopefully these players get rest. I just, honestly, I don't want to see, Ozil, Giroud, Sanchez, or Santi. If Santi's going to start over Aaron, I don't want to see any of those guys play on Sunday. I really don't. Because all those guys need a day's rest. Because if not, if he shoves out that same fucking team, it's just going to be, well, we have a week before our next game, I just, whatever. And plus with the Szczesny stuff, with, it seems more and more that check might be coming. So you're going to see in the FA Cup final, if Szczesny's not the door, if they're gonna sell Szczesny or put him on loan, fuck it. Start Ospina. Start the goalkeeper, who is basically one of our only informed players at the moment, who's been playing consistently, instead of putting a cold goalkeeper out on the pitch. Unless he decides to, start Szczesny in the last game to get him at least one game before the FA Cup final. But if he's out the door, fuck him. If they have every intentions of selling Szczesny during the summer, then it doesn't really matter. Honestly, does it? If you know that check's coming in, put the best goalkeeper out on the pitch instead of putting a rogue one who may feel he's out the door. It might not, who knows with Szczesny. He's just, he's a head case. Everybody knows that. You don't know what he's going to do. But, ranting on long enough, and, hopefully we get out of this funk, because we definitely need to. I feel sorry for the home fans as well. Spending the money, going there. Not that they did anything in this game or the last game anyway. Talk about a fucking ghost town. That was the Emirates today. It was just pathetic. Hopefully they get this, the singing group, or singing section, organized for next season, because I don't know how you can spend that type of money, complain about season tickets over and over again of how much they cost, and yet you go to the Emirates and you're just, you sit on your hands. You have duct tape over your mouth. You could hear the fans maybe once or twice during the game today. What's the point of even going then? Give your fucking ticket to someone else. Give your card to someone else and say, yeah, I'll meet you back here in 2 hours. Just don't understand it. Don't understand even the fan base. When the players really needed a injection of energy today. And what do most teams go through? They get it from their fans. Like the quote unquote 12th man. But whatever. That's just another day, another episode, or whatever, to talk about that. But yeah, that'll probably be it later.